got to get my hat and my gun.
Jim Chilton's ranch in Arizona's wild southern desert is at the centre of a political battle that will shape the US presidential election.
We'll see you, beautiful.
Okay, sweetie. Love you.
And he has a big hitter in his corner.
I'd like to ask Jim to come up and say a few words.
Mr. President, we need a wall.
Jim Chilton's ranch is on the front line of the immigration crisis. America's southern border, where the Mexican cartels control human traffic.
I carry a weapon at all times. I'm a cowboy, not a wimp.
Stop the invasion. This is an invasion.
I am a son of a migrant. We gave everything to this country, from my grandparents down. All they wanted was respect.
Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe.
At stake for voters are things some Americans once took for granted. Things that Donald Trump helped take away, like the right to abortion.
We've been called murderers, baby killers.
These babies are being slaughtered. It's the Holocaust going on, basically, you know?
All right, my dear. I am very scared about November and the elections. I do fear that we will get our rights rolled back.
We need educated voters, right? Because our future depends upon it. Amen?
In communities that were once a largely united voice, political fractures have opened up.
The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible.
It's offensive. As a black man, as a man of faith, that is absolutely offensive.
I think Donald Trump will go down as one of the greatest presidents in history. Go Trump.
And there are warnings that come November, the chaos and the threats could start once again.
He's already laying the groundwork for it.
We're coming after you and every motherfucker that stole this election.
Already, the election campaign has seen some stunning turns. President Joe Biden has now withdrawn from the race. Here in the disunited States of America, there are deep divisions over fundamental issues like race, the economy, immigration and abortion. But voters we spoke to feel there's much more at stake. They fear for the very future of American democracy. In the final part of this Four Corners series on the battle for the White House, we travel to two crucial swing states, Arizona and Georgia, where the election could be decided by a fraction of the population. And we take you inside the Trump juggernaut. On this chilly morning in May, the townsfolk of Wildwood, New Jersey are preparing for a rock star arrival. A resort town on the Atlantic coast, Wildwood's population will swell many times over, with people who've come to pay homage to Donald Trump.
What do you love so much about Donald Trump?
He's the best. Best to ever do.
Why is that?
He's done a lot for his country, a lot more than Biden has. Biden is a piece of shit. He doesn't do shit. And our southern border, completely wide open. We have 9 million illegals that we have no idea about invading our country right now.
Multiple killings. They're killing people. You reckon Trump can win it? Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
I got it in my blood. I'm telling you right now.
These hats are what I got, because I'm really bald. then I got Trump's hair.
Trump, baby!
Joe Biden's perceived frailty has been a constant source of mockery for Trump supporters, well before he bowed out. That's not just a chant. Here, it's a merchandising slogan, and it's one of the milder ones.
Appreciate you. Can't get this at Walmart? Who did not get a Biden sucks Kamala swallows? Classy shirts for classy ladies. Hey, Dad, don't panic. I got kid size.
Elizabeth has come from the Appalachian Mountains in neighbouring Pennsylvania to cheer on her political hero. And to denigrate the now outgoing president.
And obviously you're no fan of Joe Biden. What does your shirt say?
Fuck Joe Biden. I don't mince words. I'm not politically correct, and I have no love at all for the man or actually the whole party as a whole.
In 2020, you think the vote was stolen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The mail-in votes. And I truly believe that they took their time, and the political party as a whole took votes and filled them out themselves. Joe Biden, his wife, Harris, all we can do is pray. I will say, though, if we don't win this time, America is gone. America is gone.
That he has the right to say and do what.
Others here today, like Dennis, are disturbed by the unrestrained anger and bile of Trump's supporters.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was here the last time that Donald Trump was here, and we were bombarded by these folks and their hatred and just the state of our union. Are you kidding me? You know, the last woman that you interviewed, did you look at her shirt? The little letters on the bottom, F you if you voted for Biden? Where is that coming from?
Among the Wildwood crowd are members of the Proud Boys, a pro-Trump far-right militant group that's been involved in political violence. They're not keen to see us or our camera. Of the people who did speak to us, every one of them offered the same reason for why they plan to vote Trump.
Well, we had a better economy, we had better jobs, everything over the whole spectrum was better when Trump was president.
Not checking tickets, folks. Head on in, folks. Not checking tickets.
The organisers of this rally expected about 30,000 people to turn up, and we've been here all day, and they've just been streaming in hour after hour. And it should be remembered that New Jersey is a Democratic state. No Republican has won here in a presidential race since 1988.
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen the Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner.
In a rambling 90-minute speech, Trump trotted out familiar tropes. The media is fake news, the economy has tanked, and that he is a political martyr who will sacrifice himself for America's forgotten people.
I am being indicted for you, and never forget our enemies want to take my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
2 months after this rally, in the state directly to the west, Pennsylvania, someone did try to silence Donald Trump.
Take a look at what happened.
A shooter opened fire, nearly killing the former president. Trump had been speaking about the stream of undocumented migrants coming over the southern border with Mexico. A key theme of every rally that he's been holding in this campaign.
We got to do something about the fact that 20 million people have come into our country from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, from insane asylums. And they're terrorists, many are terrorists.
Jim Chilton is taking us to the Badlands at the border between Arizona and Mexico. A place far from Washington, but a place that could help decide who wins the White House.
All of these mountains have cartel spotters. It's outrageous to have foreigners sitting on your mountains on your ranch. It's just outrageous. On the southern end of the ranch, I have 5.5 miles of the international boundary. We've been told by the Border Patrol and the Forest Service, don't go down to the southern end of your ranch. The cartels are fighting it out on the U.S. side.
Jim Chilton isn't the only one around here packing weapons.
Be on the lookout for one of us coming up so you can flag him up. Over.
So see, out here, these work.
Yep.
When you got somebody up top. But if not, we run satellite phones.
Yeah.
Send him to the fork of the road and look up to the left and they're sitting there. Over.
Roger that. What is there, 200 and...
Former soldier Tim Foley runs Arizona Border Recon, a group of armed volunteers that tries to disrupt people smuggling by tracking anyone who crosses the border.
I'll grab a drone here.
Today, with Jim's permission, they are patrolling the border zone on the Chilton Ranch.
There's 2 cartels down here fighting it out for this area because it's really lucrative. This is no man's land. This is where the bad guys are.
How dangerous is it, this part of the world?
If you don't know what you're doing and you stumble across the wrong thing, you're toast. That's why we come down fully armed. Carry sidearms, we carry AR-15s.
Yeah, what do you say to that you're a bunch of vigilantes?
I've been called everything in the book. But on the back of my neck, I got a tattoo. It says Gaffe, which stands for, does it look like I give a fuck? And I don't give a fuck what people think about me because I know who I am and what I stand for. There's way more than one. Romeo 7, Charlie.
We have a red shirt guy, 2 blue jean guys with packs on the south side, but right up against the wall, walking to the east end gap. Over.
So they're heading for the end of the fence. Over.
From his base camp, Tim Foley receives reports from his armed patrol members fanned out along the border.
Roger that. Just coming over this morning, there's 500.
500?
Plus. He said he couldn't count it. He said he knows it was more than 500. And that's just the morning. They'll wait and get another group come through. The end of the fence.
Oh, okay.
Over by,
Tim Foley blames President Joe Biden and his administration of so-called woke leftists for the stream of undocumented migrants coming over the border.
They don't represent a single damn thing that I approve of or that benefits me. You know, so I just basically went.
Hi, girl. How you doing?
From Tim Foley's camp, it's just a few hundred metres to Jim Chilton's border with Mexico and to Donald Trump's Great Wall.
President Trump was securing the border. He was building the wall. Unfortunately, President Biden made a horrible mistake. On the first day of his office, he gave an executive order stopping the building of the wall. I have 5.5 miles of the wall, and a half a mile was left, and it's just stopped.
This is the international boundary. This is where the cartel has been fighting for control of this trail.
So they own this gap in the wall, they control it, and they are the ones who charge to bring people in and their own drugs, is that right?
People and drugs. The drug packers go north this way. The people who are economic immigrants come through here and then walk down the road and hoping that the Border Patrol comes along and apprehends them, processes them, and releases them into the country.
For you, this is the big problem that you have. And it's through this gap in the wall on the Chiltern Ranch where often hundreds of migrants pour into the United States each day. Hola. ¿De dónde eres?
I'm from Guatemala.
Guatemala? You speak any English? A little? Did you come over the border today from Guatemala?
6 hours.
6 hours. It's nearly 40 degrees, and many of these asylum seekers approach us asking for water. Hot?
Hambre, sed, mucho calor, desde las 8 de la mañana.
Crossing here can be deadly.
Since the 1990s, I believe about 35 people have died on our ranch, and there are huge numbers of women, if they're coming through, that get raped.
Moments after crossing, Stacey from Guatemala bursts into tears as she sees our producer Amy. Stacey's had to leave her young daughter behind. This is the place the migrants are desperate to reach. A camp where they can eat, drink and sleep in safety. Today, it's being run by volunteer Andy Winter from Chicago.
No one would choose to do this unless they felt like there was no other option at all. Because just the route here is, I mean, many don't make it, you know. It's brutal. It's just terrifying.
Repeatedly told that you should.
These people have just crossed this morning. They've come from South and Central America. There are also migrants here from India, Bangladesh and Senegal in Africa. Franco and Jenny made the journey from Peru, which has been engulfed in protests and political violence for almost 2 years.
Fue duro, fue difícil. Fueron muchos días donde no podías dormir, donde no sabías nada de tu familia también. Pasaste miedo, hambre, sed, muchas cosas. Fue muy difícil.
Para ser mujer sí fue muy arriesgado porque viajé de México. De México ya fue viajar en tráiler. Me decían que habían carteleros creo.
Cartels.
Ajá, que secuestran, que te piden dinero, no sé. Menos mal, gracias a Dios, no pasó todo eso. Pero ya después viajamos un día sin comer. Teníamos que aguantarnos también del baño. Llegamos hasta una bodega y también de la bodega teníamos que ir otros 15 horas viajar así apachurrados con 15 personas solo en una bodega o en un camarote.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa.
Donald Trump has made immigrants and border security key themes of his presidential election campaign. Using hate-filled rhetoric his critics describe as Hitler-esque.
We built a tremendous piece of the wall, and then we're going to build more.
When I hear Trump say the crazy things he says about this invasion and they're sending their rapists and their murderers and they're emptying their prisons, I mean, all you have to do is spend a half hour with these people and you realize, like, in a heartbeat, you take them as neighbors. They're amazing, beautiful, strong people who are determined to try and stay alive and provide for their families.
Trump is Trump. He tells it like he thinks it is, and he's not a politician in the sense that he gives mealy-mouthed words and comments.
This is national security. How many of these guys that you don't know about coming across are terrorists? How many cells do we have sitting in this country right now? Just waiting for a word.
This unfinished wall stands as a monument to Donald Trump's often chaotic presidency, to a leader whose grandiose vision of a wall stretching thousands of kilometres along this southern border fell victim to the reality of Washington politics and to his inability to win his own re-election. But Trump supporters say at least he tried to stem the flow of migrants, which turned into a torrent under Joe Biden's presidency.
It is obscene that Joe Biden has become the biggest human trafficker in human history. Literally, he's made the cartels billionaires overnight, and he's affected, on the worst day ever, 12,000 illegals in one day. 8 million that we know of in 3 years. Now, who are these people?
Even senior Democrats admit the border is a shambles.
The immigration system has broken down. The asylum system is no longer working as intended. People who are not genuine asylees are admitted because the law needs reform. But all the statistics show that the vast majority of people who are coming to better their lives, to work, to have hope for their family.
About 3 hours north of the Chiltern Ranch is Arizona's capital, Phoenix. More than 40% of the population is Latino. And it's Latinos who could decide who wins in Arizona, one of the 7 key swing states.
And I'm happy to be an Arizonan. I'm proud to be an Arizonan. And I'm proud to be a Mexican American.
Democrat Lupe Contreras is the minority leader of the Arizona House of Representatives. He says Donald Trump's incendiary rhetoric towards migrants has hurt many in his community.
The Democrats say, please don't call them animals, they're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans, they're animals.
My dad came to this country when he was 12 years old. I am a son of a migrant. My dad's worked his butt off his whole life. My grandpa worked to the day that he became a citizen. He worked his whole life. They never asked for anything from this country. All they wanted was respect. My whole family has worked. We gave everything to this country, from my grandparents down. I don't even like to say his name. And I guarantee you, in a lot of his businesses, there's a lot of my people working there and making money for him and building his businesses. Why don't he tell them to leave? If they're pieces of whatever he says they are. I just can't stand it. It's divided our country.
At the last presidential election, Latinos helped deliver a razor-thin 10,000-vote victory in Arizona to Joe Biden. And in November, Latinos are likely to again decide the result.
Latino vote is going to be huge in this election. And that's why they keep bringing it up. So yes, I encourage every one of my family, my friends, and my Latino brothers out there, get out there and vote.
Latinos are the largest swing voter group in America. While no fan of Biden, Eric Varela sees a dark motive behind Trump's language towards migrants.
As somebody of Latino heritage, that bothers me a whole lot. He is really good at playing the game of divisiveness, right? He's good at saying things that get people riled up.
Focus groups run by veteran pollsters have revealed a different issue increasingly motivating Latinos, perhaps more than any other this year. If you sort of had to name issues that are cooking away here in the United States that might turn votes at the presidential election, what are they?
Number one, the economy, particularly rising cost of living. This is already worth it. So it's really scary. I thought it was really scary.
Are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
All right,
Thank you.
Let's rock and roll.
Hi, I'm Celinda Lake. I'm a Democratic pollster and strategist. I worked on the Bill Clinton campaign and the Joe Biden campaign, successfully beating 2 Republican incumbents, and I am involved in the current presidential race. Latinos really want a good economy. They believe, if you just get me the jobs, if you just get the jobs going out there, I'll make my family successful.
Corporations are making record profits all the time, but at the same time, the price of goods of any kind, whether it's food, building materials, cars, all of that is exponentially higher than it was 10 years ago. But the wages that people are making are pretty much flat, right? So all of this money is being made, but not by the people that need to spend it.
The Republican Party should always be on the side of the miracle of life.
Or silenced by those who seek to undermine reproductive freedom. We know that the vast majority of
There's one issue that could really hurt Donald Trump at this election, and it affects millions of women. A Gallup poll this year found 85% of Americans are supporters of abortion.
That every person in our state has the access to the care.
And in no state has it played out quite like it has in Arizona.
The eyes of the nation are on Arizona.
We've been called murderers, baby killers. They've called us death squads before. Good morning. Welcome.
This is Arizona's busiest abortion clinic, and we've come here on a momentous day. The Senate is about to decide whether abortions will be available to all women in the state.
Morning. We're here to walk you in.
Cindy Hands and her colleagues are known as escorts. They're volunteers who help protect women who've come to clinics here in Phoenix for abortions.
Is this your first visit here? And I like your shirt. Very nice.
Thank you so much. You're very welcome.
We provide a barrier between noise and ugly language from the street from protesters, just getting them in the building safely. We're here to be a barrier of unicorn and rainbows. So it is just, if they would go away, we would go away.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
They are anti-abortion protesters who harass the escorts and try to convince women who come to the clinics to rethink their decision to have an abortion. Lynn has been doing it for more than 50 years.
It's very divisive, and in fact, these escorts, I call them death escorts. I know that a lot of them are Satanists, and they believe that every baby going into that clinic is a sacrifice to Satan, you know. I think God has a purpose and a plan for every human being he creates. And I think it's murder. You know, these babies are being slaughtered. It's a Holocaust going on, basically.
I'm Dr. Koyama. So the state of Arizona does require you to wait 24 hours before I can hand you the first pill. The first pill is the one that you drink here.
Inside the Camelback Clinic in suburban Phoenix, Atsuko Koyama is being run off her feet.
And do you feel like anyone's forcing you to do this? Perfect.
This clinic performs between 3,000 and 4,000 abortions every year.
Have you ever been at an abortion clinic before? I have not. You never had an abortion? Have you ever been pregnant before? Okay. So first...
This year, the Arizona Supreme Court upheld an 1864 ban on abortion, allowing terminations only if a woman's life is in danger. There are no exceptions, not even for rape or incest.
I think the 1864 ban is unethical. It's a 160 years old ban that makes no sense. That's what I think is kind of sad too, right, is that women are not respected. People with uteruses are not treated as equal citizens, and they need to continue to fight for the right to bodily autonomy and to keep government outside of the doctor-patient room.
We just wanted to check in from your surgery yesterday. Is now a good time?
Arizona's Civil War-era abortion ban became law again because the United States Supreme Court overturned the Roe v. Wade ruling that provided a federal constitutional right to abortion.
What I did by killing Roe v. Wade, which everyone said was impossible, number one, we got it sent back to the states. And number two, and very importantly, I gave you now the power to negotiate. You had no power before.
In your mind, how big will abortion rights be as an issue, both in Arizona but nationally in that presidential election?
The abortion issue, I believe, is a winning issue. I think the polls show that the majority of Americans do support abortion as something that we believe that every person should have the right to have.
System is now open. All those in favor, please vote aye. Any opposed to vote nay.
Dr. Koyama is watching anxiously. This vote will decide if she can continue to perform abortions.
You can raise your hands and wave them.
And as the head of this body,
that they are seeking to raise awareness.
Yay!
Thank you. So isn't that in their honor?
So you've won a battle, but the war's still raging, isn't it?
I am very scared about November and the elections. If there is another Trump presidency, I do fear that we will get even more of our rights rolled back.
In 2020, Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in Arizona by just 0.3% of the vote. Once again, it's expected to be a tight race in November.
Excuse this little clap noise.
Just don't catch my nose. It gets in so many things.
And there's one veteran Republican in this state who knows what it's like to deal with candidate Donald Trump.
Get some water if I'm going to do a short answer. My name is Rusty Bowers, and I'm the former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives in the United States of America.
Rusty Bowers was one of the most senior Republicans in the state, so Donald Trump saw him as an ally he could use. The president, along with his attorney Rudy Giuliani, called Bowers just days after the election, claiming it was stolen.
And then, boom, president comes on. He said, well, unfortunately, we've got a lot of fraud all across the country. And then Rudy says, well, we've heard that there's an arcane law in Arizona that the legislature has the authority that if the legislature feels that there's doubt in the election, that they can set aside the Biden electors and send the Trump electors to Washington. I said, wait a minute. I've never heard of that before. That's a new one on me.
So is it clear in your mind that President Trump basically wanted you to overturn the result in Arizona?
Of course he did. I mean, he wanted me to send him in.
A proud conservative Republican with a deep Christian faith, Rusty Bowers knew he had only one option.
And I said, Mr. President, I campaigned for you, I walked for you, and I voted for you. But I will do nothing illegal for you. I will do nothing illegal for you.
Rusty Bowers was praised for his principled stand. But there's only one trajectory for Republicans like him who stand up to Donald Trump. The former president's supporters made sure Bowers' career in the party and in politics soon came to an end.
I paint with different media, oil paints and watercolors.
Rusty Bowers now spends much of his time painting landscapes of his beloved Arizona.
I've done a lot of things wrong in my life, but I didn't do that one wrong. And I think that all things considered, we'd just do the same thing again.
I don't think we can count on that in the future. People have been tremendously intimidated. People fear for their lives based on the Trump supporters threatening people. So we're in a very dicey point in American history.
How vile were some of the threats that you got?
Oh, they'd kill me and kill my family. My children would never see a day of peace for the rest of their lives.
Rusty Bowers isn't the only person whose life was threatened and career destroyed as a result of Donald Trump's concerted attempts to overturn the 2020 election. Like Arizona, Georgia in 2020 went down to the wire. Once again, it's another key battleground state in this November's election.
Lay down. Lay down. I'm Richard Barron. I was the Director of Elections in Fulton County, Georgia. I served for 9 years, and I was a target of Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election.
Fulton County is the most populous county in the state of Georgia. In 2020, Trump lost the state to Joe Biden by less than 12,000 votes. So just like he did with Rusty Bowers, the defeated president called Georgia's Secretary of State and demanded he overturn the result.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani then made false claims that CCTV footage of Richard Barron's election workers proved they were engaged in fraud, sparking a barrage of death threats.
The threats that first started were coming into our office. Both my voicemail and my emails were just flooded. And then we got the bomb threat.
Can you play me some of the threats that you received?
Sure.
Time's running out, Richard. We're coming after you and every motherfucker that stole this election with our Second Amendment. Subpoenas be damned. You're gonna be served lead, you fucking enemy communist. You will be served lead.
Y'all will blow your brains out, you piece of shit.
If you have a hand in this, you deserve to go to prison. You actually deserve to hang by your goddamn soy boy skinny ass neck.
Hey, Rick, I'm one of your constituents here, and watched that hearing yesterday, and it's quite alarming. Is it the firing squad? Is it hanging for treason? Ooh, boy, you better run. That's all I gotta say.
Donald Trump has been charged over his attempt to overturn the Georgia result, and at some point could face a criminal trial.
Given what we saw in 2020, is there a concern that Donald Trump will once again either claim before, during or after that the election itself has been rigged or stolen?
I think he's already claiming that because he keeps saying that if everything is honestly done, then he'll accept the results. Well, that means if he wins. I mean, he's already laying the groundwork for it.
The history of black Americans in Georgia dates back to the earliest days of slavery. By the 1960s, Atlanta, the birthplace of Martin Luther King, had become a major organising centre of the civil rights movement.
We need educated voters, right? Because our future depends upon it. Amen?
My Lord.
Georgia is one of the big 7 swing states that will determine the next president of the United States.
I know.
And it's the black vote that's likely to decide the result.
We gotta stay alert.
That's correct.
And staying alert means that we cannot fall asleep, but we must be actively engaged in processes that will help us to do our Father's will.
Sometimes I think about African Americans as the conscience of the United States. When things are really going south, that's when people stand up and say, we want to participate or we should participate.
We'll be the children who go ahead and take care of us. Amen, somebody.
James Gaiman runs Souls to the Polls, a non-partisan church-run program that encourages black Americans to register and turn out to vote.
Some of y'all ought to be looking it up right now.
My favorite line is, tell me who is the most powerful. Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, even LeBron James. I mean, that one day you're equal, and that's election day. And then they all come back with, well, maybe my one vote won't matter. I said, that's the beautiful thing. It's not just one vote. You're a part of a coalition that's 821 churches strong.
So you nearly ready, you guys?
And sync.
I'm Whit Ayers, president of North Star Opinion Research, a GOP polling firm that has worked for good Republican candidates for over 30 years.
How crucial will the African American vote be in Georgia?
The African American vote is absolutely crucial in Georgia. It is a large portion of the electorate. The real question is whether you're going to have a significant turnout of African Americans.
In 2020, Joe Biden became the first Democrat to win Georgia in almost 3 decades. And he did it by the narrowest of margins, just 0.2%. But to the surprise of many, Trump is making significant inroads into this crucial demographic.
Hello, Zard. Lovely to meet you.
How are you? How are you?
Good, thank you. Good.
And within that demographic, it's young, aspirational black men like former US Army officer Azad Ahmadi, who Trump is winning over.
I grew up in a house full of Democrats. I was an Obama voter, and no doubt. What's driving black Americans relative to the way they're going to cast their vote, I think what's driving them is their wallet, and they associate the last time that they had a strong wallet and a strong dollar in their pocket was under the Trump administration. And so I think that's ultimately what's going to get people to pull the lever for Donald Trump in the next election.
Azad Ahmadi says there's another factor that's attracted him to Trump, his clear messaging and his Georgia mugshot.
The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. I'm being indicted for you, the black population. We are one movement, one people.
Does that speak to you?
The incarceration of black Americans is something that's a strong influence on our culture, you know? And if I'm just frank, Donald Trump has done a good job at being relatable.
It's offensive. As a black man, as a man of faith, that is absolutely offensive. Donald Trump has no idea what it's like to be a black man. So now you're saying that, all black people, we're criminals?
Just 1 second, Chris. Make a quick adjustment.
I have met every president since Bill Clinton. And my favorite is George W. Bush. Hi, I'm Camilla Moore, and I'm chairman of the Georgia Black Republican Council, Republican all my life, and I think Donald Trump will go down as one of the greatest presidents in history. Go Trump.
Camilla Moore believes Donald Trump offers more to black Americans than any Democrat candidate ever could.
Who can make your dream come true? It's Donald Trump. So when he got elected, almost every promise he made, whether it was to the people that wanted to drill, baby, drill, they got to drill, right?
Wow. We're doing record numbers with the African-American voters.
Some people in the black community say Donald Trump's a racist. Is Donald Trump a racist?
Absolutely not. Haiti proves my point. I had a national media outlet interview me and said, well, it's obvious he's a racist because he just said that Haiti was a shithole. And do you not feel that his comment about Haiti being a shithole very racist? I'm like, no, because Haiti is a shithole. And I'm like, anybody who looks at Haiti knows it's a shithole.
Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted, or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted?
Donald Trump's inflammatory language and often rambling rhetoric is celebrated by his supporters as a strength. But for Joe Biden, his fade-outs created a perception of frailty.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
Much has been made of the verbal gaffes, the physical spills and awkward pauses committed by America's oldest president.
Mr. President, thank you.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
This is a guy who says hello to dead congresswomen who died 3 months ago and thinks they're actually in the room. If you're saying hello to dead people, it's frightening because 24/7 within 30 feet of that man is the nuclear football. He can press a button and initiate Armageddon, and he's talking to dead people.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
So bad was Biden's performance during this campaign that many senior Democrats worried that it would lead the party to electoral oblivion and the loss of not only the White House, but of the Congress as well.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Eventually, the pressure on Biden became too great, forcing him to declare that it was in the best interest of his party and the country for him to stand down, and endorsing his vice president, Kamala Harris, to run in his place.
We need kind of new ideas at that level of government. Maybe not necessarily somebody much younger, but that generation kind of they've had their chance, and we can see what's happened as a result of it. And so, for me, it's about just getting some fresh blood in general, some new ideas in there.
One candidate has fallen victim to his own gaffes and perceived decline.
In Venezuela.
But Donald Trump is also not immune to tripping over words and veering off into sometimes personal and puzzling anecdotes.
We have to get it done. We have no choice, actually. We have to get it done. Together, we're going to defend our freedoms. And they said this thing with the golden shower. And I said, I didn't care about the other stuff. The other stuff was, nuclear. I didn't worry about that. The golden shower was a problem for me. And I said to our great First Lady Golden, she said, nope, that one you didn't do. See, I'm a germaphobe. She said, that one you didn't do. So she knew immediately I had no problem there. I said, whew, that was a close one. That wasn't good.
Well, Trump is the gaffe machine. It's a word salad whenever he talks. It's really unnerving. And I think Trump is showing real signs of diminished capacity.
And I had to explain that to our great First Lady.
I mean, his mind is as sharp can be. And he's like the Energizer Bunny. So, you know, to me, he's thriving.
This election is exposing cavernous fault lines in an America riven by class, race, and geography. The one thing many Americans agree on is fear. Fear that this country will be even more divided come November. And fear that this election will once again take the country to the brink.
And I really wish I'm wrong when it comes to what this country looks like in 20 years. Because it's on a trajectory of being more divided than it is now. And I just don't see that getting any better anytime soon.
We hear a lot about the divisions in the United States. How divided is the United States now?
Very divided and more polarized than it's ever been. And the U.S. rates itself on a scale from 0 to 100 at a 75 in terms of civil war. People think this country is close to civil war. People think this country could go into civil war.
This election here, if it goes the way I think it is, we're going to war. You'll see the second civil war in this country. I think it's over.
I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country.
After Donald Trump's dishonourable departure from the presidency almost 4 years ago, few expected a political resurrection quite like this.
So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
If the election were held today, Donald Trump would win a landslide in the Electoral College. But there's such distaste for both of these candidates that you just get the feeling that something's going to happen between now and November that will have a substantial effect on the outcome.
Donald Trump will win. I'm 100% certain of that. Trump's my man for 2024.
What are the implications for American democracy if Donald Trump goes back into the White House?
It scares the hell out of me for the future of my kids. I would hate that, and it would divide our country even worse than it has already.